What's going on, everybody? It's Chris, aka Supra, and today we have a package. So I had said before, I had a super old set of Tein coilovers, Tein or Tein, depending on how you want to pronounce it. I don't know that anybody has ever confirmed, and until Tein actually comes out and says, this is how you pronounce it, well, I just call it Tein. Anyway, I had a super old set of coilovers, the Circuit Master RAs, right? It was nice, they were nostalgic, they were discontinued a long time ago, they were from Japan. It was everything that I wanted about having like an old 90s JDM car. I had all old school 90s tech. So I sent them off to Tein to have them rebuilt. And they took everything apart and they gave me a quote. They said, here's everything that we need. It was a list, it was like a new casing and gas and a couple of dampers and the actual pistons and some rings. It was kind of a lot of work. They were old. They were like, oh, it's going to be like $1,100, $1,200, or you can leave these as trade-in and you can get a brand new set of our new Flex Z's instead. It was a discount, it's almost 50%, banging deal. So I thought about it. I thought it'd be super cool to have this old set of coilovers just for the nostalgic feeling, but then I thought a little bit more practically. If I ever wanted to sell the car, or if anything happened to them and I have this old set, well, that might make it difficult to get them replaced. So I opted to get the new coilovers. They just came in. I'm super excited. So I just opened the box. The straps and everything holding on are green and white, just like their colors and everything. So it's all fun stuff and themed towards Tein and everything. So let's take a look. So of course we get all the packaging and everything to keep everything safe. Open this up over here. So we have all of the paperwork, right? We've got the decal, which we love. We have the actual badge, which is nice. We got a new adjuster thing, adjuster wrench here, and then all the paperwork, everything that has all the details. And then, ooh baby, yes, a brand new Flex Z coilovers. Green springs, which is kind of cool because the ones I think on the car are green. The old ones, I actually still have them, are black, and I think that's how they were kind of back in the day. But these also have like the extra bottom springs there, if you can kind of see these. And these ones don't. They just have the two locking collars, and it's a full screw setup. So the bottom piston here comes off, so they're full height adjustable. They also have full damper adjust. And the other cool thing is these are fully, oh look at that, you don't even need the adjuster spring, if you can hear it. So you don't even need the little adjuster knob to do it, they're just adjustable. That's neat. The other ones, I think the ones on the car don't do that. So it's a full set adjustable damping, full ride height, the spring set, everything, all brand new. Super nice, shiny, green. We like them. So, kind of one of those things. I was almost bummed to not have the older set, just because I really wanted that. It's something nobody else had. Almost every Supra you see, or most of the Supras, run set of Teins. A lot of them are running these Flex Z. Some of them will run the Street Advance or the Flex A's, which are good coilovers, but the most common one you're going to see is the Flex Z. So everyone has these. So I wanted that piece that set me apart from everyone else. But again, when I broke it down and I started being practical about it, decided I probably should get something that's newer, more updated. Maybe it's probably better quality just because it's manufactured recently. And the other thing is, you don't see them. If you could see the coilovers and be like, yeah, that's old, super cool, discontinued set of coilovers, that would be one thing. But I would actually have to actually go to every show, take the tires off, and then highlight the coilover, which I really wasn't gonna put the work to try and do that. They ride really nice, they were super comfortable. Well, the old ones weren't, they were bouncy as hell. That's why it's sent to be rebuilt. So I got this new set, and it's exciting. I really like it. I'm super stoked that Tein, the customer service was absolutely phenomenal. Let me just touch on that real quick. So I sent them off, and I think I sent them maybe a month ago. probably not even that long. And it was within a couple of days that they got to me and said, we have your stuff. They've gone through a visual inspection. Here's the paperwork. We need you to pre-authorize, to do X, Y, Z. So I sent all everything over, and they got it done. There was like one delay. I waited like 6-7 days, and I checked in. Was like, hey, just kind of want to check base. Are we still good? Is everything, are we all right? Do we need to change, do we need to update? Do we need to just wait? And they were like, hey, sorry, we got backed up on some other issues and all that, but we are going to get to you right away. And they did. Like 3 days later, they're like, okay, cool, here's your quote, or here's your quote for having the replacement. They communicated with me every step of the way. They were super friendly, and the customer service was absolutely top notch. I would absolutely recommend Tein as far as coilover setup. And I know that Tein gets kind of a bad rap. Like, oh, they're cheap coilovers. This is a $900 set, which isn't expensive as far as coilovers go, but it's also not as cheap as you can get. I have had cheap coilovers, hence why I have to get new coilovers. I got a set of max speeding rods, which, worked, because I needed something in the meantime. Way back when I took the old Teins off, when I was going to have them rebuilt, I had to have something on the car so I could drive it. So I was like $300. It's literally a throwaway set. When I was done with them, I was going to sell them for like $100 just for someone to put them on your car. One of them blew out. I hit a pothole, and I hit a pothole pretty fast and pretty hard, but one pothole, and it blew out the strut on one of them. So that was it. That was the end of them. So, but it was $300 set. I can't really complain about a $300 set. So, and I think I covered this in the last video. A buddy of mine had the other set of Teins. He said, yeah, I'll go ahead and sell them to you so you can get to Supras in Vegas. And we were good to go. It was golden. It was perfect. So, the Tein Flex, which is what I currently have on the car, we're actually going to go to a buddy of mine, Justin. We're probably going to put those on Sunday. You guys will see that later. And I'll work on putting these on in the next couple of days, and I'll kind of show you guys, because I have looked online about doing the suspension swap on the car, and while it covers doing basic suspension swap, I don't feel like it goes in depth enough on installing coilovers. So I am gonna do as in depth and progressive as I can of videos on how to do that kind of stuff for you guys, for you, the viewers. It's also part of Supras in Vegas 2022 prep. Now, Supras in Vegas 2021 just happened just a couple weeks ago, and I'm super bummed that I missed it. We had another vacation that lined up literally the week before, and I couldn't take that much time off work, and I didn't want to spend that much money between that vacation and then getting to Vegas and staying in Vegas and spending money in Vegas, because it's not cheap. So, it is what it is, but I was super bummed that I didn't go, so I'm absolutely set. I'm going this year. I'm stoked for it. I'm really excited, and I'm excited to show you guys. So everything that we do over the next year, literally, is all prep for Supras in Vegas 2022. It's a 15-hour drive, so I need to make sure this car is in top-notch condition, and I'm going to show you guys every step of the way. Every busted knuckle, every sweaty eyebrow, every tear that I shed when I'm just completely distraught and done with the car, we're going to share. You'll enjoy. Alright guys, here they are, the brand new set of Flex Z coilovers. So we got the rears here, we got the fronts here, we got our new wrenches, because we'll need all the paperwork and everything like that. Whole bunch of packaging all over the place, but it's here, it's done. So we are going to get started on putting this all on. I don't know if we'll work on it tonight. Possibly it's getting kind of late. My daughter's going to sleep, and unlike some channels which show that everybody has all kinds of free time and super large amounts of space, I don't. So I'm also going to show you guys how you can be working on your car in a small space with your family on a budget, whatever you're going to do, without cutting corners and skimping on stuff that needs to really be done the right way. Again, I cut corners and I got a cheap set of coilovers and it didn't work. So my advice, don't do it. But if that's your budget, get them. They rode fine. I would avoid potholes and curves and stuff like that, but you know what? They fit, they worked, they lowered the car, they were adjustable, they really rode fine. So if that's what's in your budget, don't let anyone tell you otherwise that you shouldn't get the cheap set of coilovers. Get what you can afford, get what you want. That's really what it breaks down to. I'm gonna get started on putting these on the car, and I'll be right back with you. It's a tight squeeze, but we fit. Okay, so we waited for a nicer day. It's been really, really rainy the past like 2 weeks, I think. But we finally got a nice day where it's not raining. We'll say that much about it. So we're gonna get to work on the suspension for this fucking car. So it's actually super simple. There's only, you know, aside from the 3 bolts on the top, the front you got to take out like 2 bolts, one for the actual strut and the other one holds one of the control arms on, and in the back it's literally just the bolt that holds the bottom of the strut on, so it's super easy. Let's take a look. So firstly, I have a strut tower brace, but even if you don't have one, you've got your things here. So you're going to take off all 3 of the bolts there from both sides. I should actually probably lead with jack your car up and get the wheels off. Start there. Alright, so we're going to squeeze in here between the car and the fucking HVAC venting and everything that I have. It's 1 car garage problems. Your lug nut should be 21 millimeter. Take your impacts and rack this boy off. Once you got the tire off, get it out the way. Alright, so I'm going to be doing this probably 1 wheel at a time just because my jack's a pain in the ass and doesn't like to lift the car way up in the air for me to get both jack stands underneath. I mean, it'll do it, but it takes a while and I just don't even want to deal with it today. So we are just going to work with 1 wheel at a time with the jack stand, or with the jack itself, and we'll work on it. So we got down here, aside from a dirty boy, is you'll have a bolt that's down on the bottom right there, and then that long boy right there, and on this side has got to come out. Now that bolt actually goes all the way towards the front bumper, so if you have your wheel well, your fender lining, you'll have to unbolt that. I'm pretty sure mine's actually missing because it fell off and got torn up by the tire, so I just don't have it there. You may have to loosen up your windshield washer reservoir just so it can shift slightly, because that bolt has to come out long ways and go towards the front of the car. So let's work on it. So that first bolt I pointed out, the one on the bottom, is a 19 millimeter. The one on the top should also be, yes, so it's a 19 on both sides. So you get your 2 sockets, or a socket and a wrench, something like that. 19 on either side to break that bolt, get it off, and we'll go from there. Get you one of your big boy wrenches, and then something to hold the other side of the bolt. So, that's what I'm talking about there. So that bolt that goes from that side there out to the front, if I can hold both the way in the camera, you gotta pull it all the way to the front of the car. Now once there's tension on everything, you're gonna need to be able to lift this control arm up, pull that bolt out, and it just slips right back into there. So, once you've undone those bolts from the bottom and the top, you pulled it out. Okay, you're gonna have a nice empty space like this. No more strut. Okay, be careful of all your brake lines. We don't want to damage anything. Your brake line on the right there. You've also got a brake line over here, which does very much get in the way. So, but when you're done, you should have a nice baby strut that your car has just given birth to. Okay? Now, and excuse me, my assistant needs my help. Yes, love?
What's that in your hand?
These are our followers and subscribers and friends and stuff. That's who this is. Say hi. Okay. So you've got your strut out. Now, you're going to take your new one. Make sure you get your front, and you can tell because they will have the little brake bracket right there. Take it and put it back on. Reverse order everything. This is so dark. I have a light on. The light behind me. Put it all back on in reverse order. Okay. So now that you have your shiny new strut on your car, now you gotta adjust it. Now you can do this a couple of different ways. Let me get down with you guys there. You can do it with the car, or you can do it with the wheel off. It gives you access to the locking collars, everything like that, but you don't know the ride height just yet. So typically, what I would suggest would be you would put the wheel back on, you would crank the wheel all the way to one side, you would bounce it, you gotta bounce it, you gotta sit in it, and see if, get it leveled, and then make your adjustments from there. Bounce it a little bit, sit in it, set your damper and everything like that, and that's pretty much that. If you set it too much while the wheel's off, and then you go to drop it, maybe you set it too low and you can't get your jack out from underneath your car. If you set it too high, that's fine, but then you spend more time kind of cranking it down with the wheel on. So you can set your base adjustment with it now. So if you took off a set of coilovers, you can say that's a pretty good starting point. Now luckily I have brand to brand, so you can go through and you can count the threads, or you can measure the distance between the bottom locking collar and then the top locking collars and set the same, if you want to set the same ride height, and then from there you can just make minor adjustments, which is just with your keys, and set it from there. So the way that I'm going to do it is with measuring tape. Now I've measured the distance between the top lock collars and the bottom lock collar on the old one. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just match that distance right here. So hopefully what that'll mean, when I put the wheel back on, put it down, it's going to go back to the same ride height, which is kind of what I liked anyway, and we're good. Okay, if you noticed previously your car was a little too low, then give yourself more. If you noticed it was previously too high, then set it a little bit lower. But this is how we can make those adjustments right now. So right now, the other one was set at about 2.5 inches. This one is set at 3 inches, which, as far as compression, is probably about, because it's a half-inch difference, it's probably about 3/4 to an inch of actual ride height. Sometimes, millimeters can make a big difference when you're adjusting these. So we'll take this. Is probably a good time to educate that your keys usually have this, which is for a ratchet. Let me just stop being an idiot and do it the right way, right? Gives you a little bit more leverage. But that is what that spot is for. Odds are you may still bust your knuckles. It's kind of an unavoidable situation, but so now we've got the bottom lock collar loosened, so now we can lower it. So what you can do from there is you slide your bottom lock collar up and down, like so. Just spin it, set your distance here, and then you're gonna use your key, your wrench, to tighten this down to kill this gap. You have your ride height set then. That should be good. Let's do it. Another tip, do this before you put the strut in the car. When you're done, make sure you lock your bottom collar, lock your top collar. Should be good to put the wheel back on. So let's take a look, see what it is. Make sure you tighten the bolts up on the top too, on your strut tower. You're gonna need to do that. So when you're done, we've got the strut in, we've got it adjusted, we've got the bolts on the top tightened down, all the bolts on the bottom tightened down. Make sure you put back the bolt that's holding your brake line in place. Make sure you put back the bolts that are holding your windshield wiper reservoir in place. And then we're done. We're going to put the wheel back on. Okay, so we've got the fronts on. They're completely done. Now we're moving to the rears. Now the rears are a little bit easier because you don't have as many things you have to take apart, but the bolt pattern on the top is different. On the fronts here, these bolts are 14s. On the rear, we've got to pull the speaker housing off and then get down in there, and those are actually 13s if you've kept the same bolts. Now if you've changed the bolts, they could be whatever, but the factory ones, which are from the first set that I had to these, to the new ones, 14mm in the front, 13mm in the rear, it's still 19mm holding the actual coilover in place. Okay, so this once you have your rear struts on, you're going to go ahead and put the tires back on. You're going to tighten them hand tight down. You're going to get the car on the ground. And I have found that 2 uggas and a dugga typically is enough to keep your wheel on. However, if you're going to do it the right way, and I always recommend doing it the right way because it's also safer this way, you're going to take your torque wrench, and you're going to tighten it down to 76 foot-pounds, all four corners. Double check them, because the last thing you want is to have put these new coils on your car, go out for a drive, and have your fucking wheel fall off. That's not going to be any good. It's probably going to mess you up. Once you have all of them done, you're going to dial in all of your settings. You're going to adjust your, damper stiffness, everything like that. I have mine like full stiff, and then I kicked it down like 2 clicks. And you're just going to find what's comfortable. Make sure your ride height's good. If you notice some rubbing, jack it up, adjust your height, raise it up a little bit there. But be minimal. Make sure you're measuring, make sure you're counting the threads, whatever you're doing to make it even across. If you can corner balance your car, if you have the scales to do that, or if you have a place to take it, I recommend doing that. But just do what's right, do what's comfortable, do what's good for your car and for yourself. But that's pretty much it. Your coilers are on, your wheels are on, everything should be good to go, so enjoy your new ride.